So my name is Amanda, and I'm with the Tampa-Hillsborough County Public Library, and I am, as always, pleased to introduce Katie and Lorian, who are with us as special guests from the Storytelling Festival Committee. Today, they're going to be telling us about the next steps you want to be taking in your storytelling planning process. So as a reminder, this is part of the Virtual Storytelling Festival for 2021. This is the 40th anniversary of the Tampa-Hillsborough County Storytelling Festival. It started June 3rd. We are still going through August 5th. There are still opportunities. There's still information to learn. There's still events to attend. So you can find all of that information, more about the Storytelling Festival and participating at our website, which is hcplc.org/storytellingfestival. There you are going to find all the information you need to participate and enjoy the festival. You're going to find the criteria for how they evaluate the stories, information about how to select a great story. You're going to find instruction on how to become a performer as a storyteller, and much, much more. That is split up between documents. You can find those documents, but we also have a really great playlist called Storytelling School, which has a lot of additional instruction from even the instruction you're going to find today. So as a reminder, who can participate in the Storytelling Festival? It is for students in K through 12 or ages 6 through 18. Those are the ones who are invited to participate and submit their story. Having said that, though, anybody can enjoy the videos, the education, the lessons, and the programs we've had. So if you want to submit a story, you do have to be 6 or 18, but if you want to enjoy the resources, anybody can access those. So Katie and Lorian, we are doing a really special session today, but I do want to let the audience know we are going to follow it with an interactive Zoom session. I am going to share that information in the chat section, the link to join that Zoom session. That is going to be even more interactive, where you can turn your camera on and you can get direct feedback on your storytelling. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I think let's go ahead. I'm going to share that at the end of the program, so be on the lookout for the chat section. Once the program ends, you can. I'm going to share it right before we go into the Q&A. So I know you have a lot of great content from both of you today, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera. I'll be back for the Q&A, and I'm going to hand it over to our expert.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm Katie Adams, and I'm so excited to see all of you all here today. I'm going to be getting you ready for putting your story together. We have an important date coming up. This is when we kind of finish putting your story together, and then you make a video of your story, and then you submit it on Friday, July 17th, or earlier if you want to submit it earlier, but you need to submit it on that deadline, Friday, July 17th. We hope that a lot of you have been learning stories and putting stories together. So for right now, I'm going to talk to you about how to finish up, polish up your story, and make sure you've got everything in place so that you can have a festival quality story. So you can see here, we have the storytelling criteria slide up here, and so you can follow along with what I'm talking about. The first thing, of course, with your storytelling is your choice of story, and we've talked about that, but again, you want to have a folk tale, a fairy tale, myth, fable, maybe something from the 398.2 section of the library. And if you are still looking for a story, a really great resource is on the Hillsborough County Public Library website. You go to their Storytelling Festival button there, their landing page, and there is a curated book list, which is just awesome. Any of those stories that you pick would be great to learn for your story. So we hope that you've already got your story choice and you've been working on it. So here's some things that you want to think about as you're telling your story and making sure that everything's all polished and perfect. You want to be sure that the memory of your story is working, that it's very smooth, that there are no pauses during your story. For instance, if you start to tell your story and you have to stop and oh yeah, and think about what came next. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. And then you can finish telling your story. If you have those kind of pauses in your story, then you need to practice a little bit more. It means that the memory's not quite there. So you want your story to just flow smoothly without those pauses to try to remember your story. And the next thing you want is to be nice and loud so that everybody can hear you. And particularly on the video, you want to be sure that the video is loud enough. We call that loudness projection. It means you're projecting your voice and it's loud enough to reach everybody who needs to hear it. So as you're telling your story and you're practicing, make sure that you get some feedback about, is my story loud enough? Try getting really, really, really loud. But one thing you don't want to do is kind of look down like this and talk really quietly because we can't hear you. Can you hear me? No, so you want to be sure that you're nice and loud. You have good projection for your storytelling. The next thing is you want to have good diction. So it's not enough just to be loud. You want to speak clearly so that we can hear each word. One of the real things we find with this is sometimes people are just talking too fast. So they talk like this. They start telling their story and they keep going on really fast and they don't stop at all to take a breath. And then they keep going and then they're doing their story and then we can't tell what they're saying because it's all running together in one big word. Could you tell what I was saying there? Maybe not. So what you want is to slow it down. Usually with diction, it's about slowing your story down a bit and giving each word all the sounds it needs to make it clear. Get the ends of your words and make sure everything's really clear. Another thing that we look for in good storytelling is personality. And so there's a couple of things about that that you can look for. If this is a scary story, for instance, are you showing the scary part of the story? Do you kind of go along kind of quietly through the story and then you say, boom, right at the time when you're supposed to? Make sure if it's a scary story, it's really scary. Or if it's a funny story, you tell it in a way that will help people to laugh. You give your audience time to laugh and then keep telling your story. So that's part of the personality. You want to use some of the things that we've talked about before. You want to make sure that you show characters in your story, maybe character voices. You want to have movement in your story, and you want to have some sound effects in your story. Those three things really add a lot to the personality of the story. The next thing that we are looking for in a good storyteller is poise. And a good way to think about that is, how comfortable are you telling your story? If you get up and you're kind of nervous and you're playing with your clothes, or your face just looks really sad as you're telling your story, or you don't seem happy as you're telling your story, then we would say you don't have good poise. You're not comfortable telling your story. So remember to smile when you're telling your story, enjoy telling your story. These are all things that will help add to the poise. Try not to fidget or play with your clothes. Don't put your hands in your pockets. Do some action that helps to show how comfortable you are with your story. The last thing you want to be careful of is you want this story to be less than 10 minutes. If it goes over 10 minutes, it doesn't qualify as a festival quality story. So make sure that your story is less than 10 minutes. If you find it is really long, you want to make sure you time it carefully and maybe take out a few sentences to make sure it's under 10 minutes. So those are all the different things that we are looking for, and you can see them right there on the slide. And so just as you're polishing up your story and getting it ready to be videotaped, you want to go through those different criteria. Now, if you have a video for us, we are going to be sending you a certificate of completion. If your story comes up to festival quality, we will be sending you a festival t-shirt. So we really want you to finish up your story and submit for the video for us. And that's, like I said, coming up on Friday, July 17th. That's the deadline. Then we will be reviewing all the videos, and we may showcase 2 or 3 of these storytelling videos at our final storytelling celebration, which is going to be on August 5th at 6:30. We're going to have a big celebration, have lots of fun, and showcase some of our great youthful storytellers. So now, how are you going to put this video together? Well, I would like to bring Lorian back on, and she's going to talk to you about the video.
Hello. Okay, so you've done what Katie said. You've been through story school, you have graduated, and you are ready to record your awesomeness to see if you can, to be evaluated, to see if you can be featured at the Storytelling Festival. Now, I have some tips and tricks for you for recording, and I'm going to be moving my camera all around so that you can see what it is that has to happen in order to make a good recording. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what has to happen behind the camera before you can start recording. And one of the first things is that it needs to be in landscape. So the long way, not tall. Tall is portrait, long is landscape. You want it to be long. Because if you do it this way, then your image will be teeny tiny and there will be big black bars on the side. So most of the image won't even be you. So it's really important, landscape, not portrait, long landscape. The next thing is that the camera needs to be at eye level. So I'm using an iPad. It is at landscape. It is set long, not tall. And the camera is right at my eye level. If you put a ruler out in front of my eyes to the camera, it would be right there. But we're gonna change that in just a minute. I'm gonna show you. And then, so the next thing is you need to make sure that your focus area is in film. Now, Katie had her focus area in film. I currently do not. I have a dog, but I don't have a focus area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my camera so that it can stay at eye level and give me a focus area.
So how about I can keep talking for Lori, because I think I know what she's talking about. She's talking about the focus areas. She wanted to make sure that that you can see enough of the storyteller, that it's lined up right in the middle. You don't want to be off to the side or too low, something like that. You want to be sure that the camera angle is getting a nice view of the storyteller. Also, you want to make sure that you don't have a bright light behind you. You want to have the brightest light in front of you. So for instance, if you're going to stand near a window, put the window in front of you and let the light from the window be on your face, because we need to see your face. We don't want to have a big bright light behind you, because then you'll just be black. You'll be like a silhouette, we call it, in front of the windows. So whatever kind of light you have, make sure that it's in front and it's brightening up your beautiful face on the video. You can even do like a test and look and make sure, look at the video and make sure, oh yeah, I can really see this. Their face is just popping out. Another thing that you want is to dress correctly. If you're going to see your feet, make sure you're wearing shoes. You want to, we don't really wear a costume for the storytelling, but we do wear nice looking clothes. You don't want to wear raggedy pants probably, or you want to make sure you're wearing some shoes and, look presentable for the video. Let's see. Also, with the video, you want to, of course, make sure that it's loud enough. So again, that's that projection for the video, and you'll want to do a test, videotape a little bit and listening to your storyteller, and then make sure, play it back, make sure, oh, it is loud enough, everybody's going to be able to hear. So these are some things that you want to do with your video. I think that Lorian may have a few more things to add, but
Well,
I think we have her right now.
I tell you what, Katie, while we're waiting, hopefully Lorian, looks like we're having a little tech glitch. While we're waiting for her to come back, I do want to encourage people to start thinking about some questions you might have, to submit those to the questions section. I also want to share as a reminder, so we do a shout out for every one of our programs, and I'm going to come back on with you so we can shout out these materials. So we've talked about some things in our past programs. We have a couple really cool things to check out this time. So I don't know if people know this, but we don't just check out or circulate books and movies at the library. We have a lot of circulating technology. One of my favorite bits of circulating technology are called launch pads. And basically what they are, they're just tablets, but they're preloaded with different types of games on all sorts of different topics. You've got geography, math, science, animals, and we found a really cool one called A Story to Tell. This is recommended for kids ages 8 to 10. So it works on both reading comprehension, but it also helps you. It has games and activities that can help you work on your storytelling. So if you want to learn that way by playing some games, we would definitely recommend checking out A Story to Tell. You can look it up by title in our catalog on hcplc.org. You can just look up launch pads, or you can use the title A Story to Tell. That would be a really fun way, I think, to prepare for the Storytelling Festival. I do also want to let people know about a book that is in our digital streaming service called Hoopla. Hoopla is the digital streaming service. You may have heard me talk about this before. It is one of my favorite databases we have. Hoopla is really great because it has a variety of things. It has ebooks, digital audiobooks, graphic novels, movies, television, and music. And the super cool thing about Hoopla is you get 12 checkouts per month, but you never have to wait for an item. So you never have to put it on the wait list. If everybody wanted to check out this book today, you could all do it. And this is called Theater and Storytelling Games. This is designed for groups, but if you're still working alone, you can go in and you can find some of those activities that might help you prepare if you're learning how to do character voices or do different faces, or just get in performance mode. There are different games in there that you can play to get warmed up. So this might be a good way to practice before you even do your performance or your storytelling. Okay, welcome back, Lorian. I'm going to go ahead and take off our recommendation slide, and we'll go ahead and wrap up. So Katie was also sharing with us some of the other tips for recording a really good video. Let's pass it back over to Lorian, who might want to finish up those thoughts. And then after Lorian is done, we will take some of your questions from the audience. So I will go ahead and take myself off, and Katie and Lorian, why don't we leave you on camera?
Okay, I just want Lorian. I got to talk to them about the lighting and how to do the lighting.
Okay, so you told them make sure there's more lighting in front of them than behind them, and that if they stand in front of a window, they should be facing the window, and the camera should be between the window and them. The window should not be behind them. Okay, excellent. That's perfect. That's one of my favorite tips. Sorry about that. Obviously, technical difficulties. So make sure that you're dressed appropriately from head to toe, because you never know if a move is going to put something in the shot. And then make sure that you're looking at the lens, not the screen, because when you look at the lens, you're looking at your audience. So know where your camera lens is. And then when you look at the screen, you're not making eye contact with your audience anymore. And then lastly, the last two things are try to have a clearish background. So Katie's background is better than mine. She has just a curtain hanging behind her. And I've got some things going on in my background, but not a lot. And I did clear it out before we started. And then with, and the last thing is sound. So there's a couple of things with sound, but the big one is just avoid whatever sound things you can. So I have my air conditioner turned off right now because the big noisy part of my air conditioner is about 2.5 feet away from my camera setup. And so even though getting quite warm, if the air conditioner were on, that sound would be very distracting, and you might even hear that louder than me on the video.
And I have a pet. I have a parakeet who's very chatty. She talks all the time, so I have to put her in another room so that we don't have her chatting during the video.
Yes. So watch your pets, and also as like a pro tip, if you can have softer things around you, that can help a lot, because if you're just against a wall in a room that's just walls, windows, tiles, and like wood furniture, your sound will bounce around that room and it'll be very difficult to speak where you can be understood on the video, even if you're doing a great job with the diction and the projection like Katie was telling you about. So that's all my video tips. And it needs to be an MP4 video, and there is more information on downloading a video on the webpage that Amanda has given you repeatedly. And then we might also have the video form available in the chat. I'm not sure, we can ask Amanda. And then you can always email us at tampastoryfest@gmail.com in order to ask us direct questions or get more information. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that was a lot of good information. I am bringing up our closing slide here just because we do have a few questions, but just to share that website again, you can go to hcplc.org/storytellingfestival. But I have also, so you will find the PDFs there, but I've also uploaded it in the handout section. You can find the criteria handout that Katie talked about. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the criteria. The handout that Katie talked about today with the different elements you want to include in your storytelling with poise and time and diction. And you can also find the handout about recording and submitting your story. So again, you can find those also on the website, but if you're here today and you want to download them as well, that is an awesome opportunity. So as a reminder too, this is the Storytelling Festival is part of our summer reading celebration. So if you do want to find out what else is going on at summer reading, definitely check out hcplc.org/summer. That has info about the reading challenges, the other events and programs that we have going on. And if you have questions about the library, like those cool launch pads or Hoopla or anything else, you can always contact us online at hcplc.org/contact or call us at 813-273-3652. So again, a reminder, in the chat section, you will find the link for the interactive Zoom session that is happening directly after this one. And in the handout section, you will find those handouts we did talk about. And then Katie and Lorian, do you have time? Let's take a few questions. So, oh, go ahead, Lorian.
I'm sorry, just about the Zoom really quickly. I wanted everybody to know that I'm going to go ahead and open it up now, but I'm not going to go over there until all of the questions are done. So they can stay here as long as they want with questions and not have to worry about being late to the Zoom if that's what they want to do next.
Wonderful. So this kind of goes back, and you can find in the story, if you look at Storytelling 101, our recorded program, we talk a little bit more about this in depth, but I think this is something that people do continue to have questions about. Can I pick a library book for my story for the Storytelling Festival?
Yes, you can. And like I've said, there's a wonderful list of library books on the Hillsborough County Public Library website on their storytelling page. It's right there on the front page of Hillsborough County's website. They have a storytelling button. You click on that and you scroll down, and at the bottom is this wonderful curated list of books that are perfect to choose for your story. So I hope you'll go and look at those. Those are all library books.
And as you've told us before, a good thing to mention is you can edit the story. It doesn't have to be word for word what is in the book, or you can kind of make it your own, correct?
Yes, it should not be word for word unless it's a poem or like Dr. Seuss, which we do not recommend, especially for beginning learners. So it should not be word for word. And we do have videos in Story School about how to pick out the like the characters and the important events so that you can learn the elements of the story without memorizing the story word for word.
Oh, this is a good question. So we talked about the maximum amount of minutes. It can't go over 10 minutes, is there a minimum amount of minutes for the story? What would you say is the shortest maybe somebody can go?
Well, you want to be able to tell the whole arc of the story, beginning, middle, and end. Now, it could be very quick, maybe a minute, but you do need to get all of the story in. So, you do have plenty of time within 10 minutes to get your story in, and we're not worried about it being short. We are worried about it going over 10 minutes. That's the only criteria.
Yeah, there, like Katie said, there has to be that plot arc. So like just telling like a quick joke isn't going to work because it doesn't have like characters and conflict or a problem and then the solution. So it does have to have all of the parts of the story in the beginning, the middle, and the end. And like Katie said, if that is a minute or two, then that is a minute or two. There's not like a cutoff minimum time like there is a maximum time, but it does have to have all of the elements of a story.
This is okay. This is a good question. It says this is the third session for the Storytelling Festival, correct? Just checking to see if I missed any. So this is the third instructional session. We had the intro session, we had Storytelling 101, and then this is the third session. We have had professional storytellers do performances, but the good news is, so you did not miss any of the programs, but the good news is everything has been recorded and you can find it at, and I know I say this a lot, the Storytelling Festival website, hcplc.org/storytellingfestival. We have those all on a curated list on YouTube. You can also find them on YouTube. So you can go back, if anybody at home has not attended all the sessions, you can go back and see the ones you missed, or you can rewatch if there was good information or you want to refresh your memory of the advice and the technique information they gave. You can always go back and you can find that on the website right there. So in addition, Katie and Lauren, you can also let us know a little bit about the Storytelling School. What is that exactly?
Well, Katie and I, along with the committee and members of the library, we worked together because normally when we're not in a pandemic, we work with students live at their schools, at the libraries, at community centers, and we take them through like a curriculum where we teach them all of these things and work with them in person on, picking a good story, learning the story, using your voice, making sound effects, using gestures. So we normally do all of that, and then we have a live evaluation where the storyteller performs their story live in front of an audience, and their story is then evaluated for whether it's festival quality or not. So with going online, if we had just said, okay, people are just going to tell stories, it would have missed the vast majority of the storytelling experience. So again, working with the wonderful folks at the library, the committee put together videos that are the kinds of things that we normally teach in person so that everybody would have those resources to get the full storytelling experience.
And they can access anytime. They can get, right now you could be saying, oh, well, what else do I need to know? I tried to remember this part, or I need a little bit more. You can go to those videos and get a lot of questions answered.
Okay, so we have time for a few more questions. This is a good one because we do want to hear that. Can you remind us what the deadline for submitting the video is and where do you send the video?
So the deadline is a week from today. And I guess they could be submitted up till midnight. July 17th, the Friday. And you want to there's a form on the website under the storytelling page there, and it's how to do your video, and it tells you that you want to use Dropbox and then send it to our Gmail address. And Lorian, can you tell us that Gmail address one more time, please?
It's Tampa Story Fest, all one word, no spaces, Tampa Story Fest @gmail.com.
And that is on the website and in the handout that is in the handout section right now. So if you didn't have a chance to write it down, you can just download that handout, or you can go back to the website at a different time and do that. And this is a good one to lead into our next session, which is the Zoom session. May I submit a practice run for you to correct me before submitting my final work?
No, but you can join us in the Zoom session right now and immediately following this, and you can give us, and you can perform your story live, and then Katie and I will both be there, and we can work with you live on things that you can work on if there's anything that you would like to tweak or improve.
Exactly. So there is the opportunity not to submit the video, but if you do want, we've shared the information to join that session after this one is closed. I think that I'm looking at the clock, and I do believe that brings us to the end of our program today. So I want to thank you, Lori and Katie, once again. We will be seeing you, of course, for the closing ceremony. So thank you, everyone, so much, and we will see you at a future program.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.